I don't know. It's a lifeline of sorts. So to say it's about ego might be selling it a bit short. Um,
Well, I'm not saying, I'm not telling you how to feel about it, I'm telling you how I feel about it. I do think ego's involved in art, but I think art is what you are creating. In other words, if some artists are about creating something that feeds their ego, that's what it is. And if other artists are creating something that's a mission to make the world a better place, that's what it's going to be. You can't really like separate that intention out, and that's kind of like what I'm talking about here. On my film, I mean on my paper for Liam's class, it's like I'm arguing that so much of the art that we're exposed to, and I'm using art as media, media and art, is not altruistic. It's very selfish and enslaving because it's about people's shallow egos, and it's about keeping us enslaved with distorted and perverse ideas about ourselves.
in other words, you do feel it is conscious and deliberate on the part of certain individuals or even a group of individuals, an organization, a conspiracy.
Well, some people are conscious, but most people are not. That's why I call them zombies. They're brain dead. We are all brain dead, and anyone who tries to wake up is going to be attacked and have their brains eaten. And they're going to turn into a brain dead too. One way that we stay dead is through consumption. Not the illness, I don't know anything about that illness, but consuming constantly. They want us to consume, but what we consume is death, almost in a very literal sense. We're consuming death.
I'm consuming death right now, and I know it.
Well, that's a really excellent example. Cigarettes is another pot, at least the pot we've been using is another example. So is most of the food we eat and the drinks we drink, you know, like pop is what we called it, or soda. It's a bunch of sugar with a bunch of aluminum in it and CO2. Like, we're taught in our society to eat and drink and consume in any way death. Also, the definitions of what it means to be a human being, a man, a woman, a child, are all totally warped and totally distorted and sick. They're perverse, and they breed destruction. We could probably explicate about any work of art or film, let's say film, and say that role of a woman is absolutely fucking disgusting. The role of the man is absolutely perverse and sick. And the victimized children, the fact that it's even being represented as that's what children's roles are, is absolutely sick and perverse too. It doesn't give us a way out of hell. It just keeps us stuck in hell, plummeting deeper and deeper, recycling and recycling our own bad causes, perpetuating bad causes.
I'll just throw this out there because it's always begged the question to me. This conspiracy, this...
It's not a conspiracy that I'm talking about, although people might call it that, but you can go ahead and call it that.
Maybe that's not the right word.
It might be, people would probably call it that, but like I said, I don't call it that.
I asked myself the question about the filmmakers. One particular film comes to mind. It's,
I don't want to even talk about it, honey.
alright, we won't talk about that.
But we
now.
can talk about the film.
Okay, the film.
Thanks.
It was about saying it was about a misogynist is putting it far, far too lightly. Saying it was
Thank you.
about a dumb woman is putting it far, far too lightly.
Yes, thank you.
But having said that, it's about a dumb woman who falls in love with a violent, dangerous, misogynistic creep. And it was wildly popular. I just want to know how much the person who wrote the script knew. I don't even really fucking care about the director or anybody that was on the set or even so much the actors. It was the writer. As a writer, I don't devalue my importance. You know, that the writer, however diluted their vision becomes over the process of somebody making a movie and bringing in hundreds of people to dilute the original vision, it was the writer. And if the writer had any fucking integrity, he wouldn't sell it to some schmucks who were going to turn it into something ugly if it was something beautiful. I'm with Jody on this one. It's not worth the fucking money. That is selling your soul. And when it comes to this film that was made a long time ago, and as people in our class would stand up and say in its defense, it was a reflection of the day. Well, perhaps.
I'm sorry, I have to take a deep breath and release some bullshit. It's not you, you're telling the truth. Thank you.
Yeah, what do you want to say? Because I'm not done yet. Or were you just sighing to release?
I'm just releasing some shit. Thank you for what you said.
See, what I don't know is what that screenwriter knew. I can't really make heads nor tails of that. I think I'd have to meet the person to get a real answer about that. And that doesn't just apply to stuff that was made decades ago. That applies to stuff that was made yesterday.
It's so hard for me to hear this stuff, honey. I feel sorry for the people who are having to hear it.
What I'm saying is, was it brainwashing? Was it ignorance on the part of the person who did it, and everybody else that was involved? Was it intentional that they're gonna go out there and reinforce the wrong message? Which they certainly did. Whether that was intentional or not, maybe they were even fucking calling attention to it, but it backfired. I don't know. And you know what? The screenwriter always gets left out. Nobody credits him. With the 5 major Oscars, is one of them
Honey,
screenwriting? No.
that's easy to find out the film now.
Okay. Well,
Because there are only like 2 in history have ever done it.
I don't know. We're not in exactly the same space right now, and I want to respect that. I want people to know what we're talking about, but I want to respect
I don't.
you too.
We're confronting head on the Devil King of the 6'7". We got to be careful. Like fuck no. I mean, I'm sick just you making references to it without naming it. And now, I mean, everybody's gonna know what it is. Like we named it, even after you and I agreed. I mean, after I asked us not to, but here we are, we did it. So that's that, and,
We'll talk about something else entirely then.
well, I wanted to respond to what you said.
Well, I wish you would.
Thank you. Look, there are people who are completely, consciously promoting and propagating evil in order to enslave all the people in the world for their own gain. Then there are people who are under their spell, literally entranced by them, carrying out their work. Is the screenwriter intentional or is he entranced? It doesn't really matter. It's the same message being passed down. It's like I teach the correct teaching of Buddhism. I align myself every single day with the correct teaching of true Buddhism. And throughout the day, I realign myself. It's like a pilot who's going someplace. They may go off over here for a while and then go off over here for a while, but they're constantly adjusting their alignment to go to meet their destination. My destination is enlightenment. So I'm constantly aligning myself with the correct teaching of true Buddhism. Nichiren Buddhism, as taught by the SGI USA, through Daisaku Ikeda, my current mentor. I haven't drunk or had anything to drink or smoke, but it doesn't matter. I'm drunk on the poison of this world that we're constantly having permeated into our minds. But, so, is it intentional or not? It doesn't really matter. These guys are aligning themselves with pure evil. So what is passed down is pure evil, honey. And we eat it as if it's nourishing.
This has always been a sort of a linchpin sort of question for me. I'd like to pose it to you and see what you make of it.
Thanks.
I often thought about this world in general. In this world, planet Earth, we'll call it planet Earth. It's a nice pedestrian name that applies to all of us. Even though I don't think the term planet Earth does it justice. Nothing does it justice. Don't even get me started. Why do you think planet Earth is here, people? Why do you think this exists? We start getting into why I don't believe in evolution, and I certainly don't believe that anybody watching this and understanding a damn word I'm saying is a product of evolution. You got people at the top fucking it up for everybody, making it miserable for everybody. We think lining their pockets for themselves, making themselves happy. Who are these people? Do they exist? Because if they are intelligent enough to pull that off, they're smart enough to see this universe, to see how it works, to see how they can impact the lives of the little people on this planet. They must be enlightened.
No, they're not.
Well,
they're
I was going to say,
by the devil.
why would an enlightened person make these choices?
Okay,
But
they're not enlightened because, let me read to you here. And this is the answer to your question, and I already answered it to you last night. But I'm going to reiterate it because, see, we have to reiterate these things a million times over for or we're not gonna understand them.
I agree. Now, I will say this first, I feel like the question we're posing is, and this is a question between me and Jody. Nobody else has to take on this question unless they want to. Who are we fighting? Who is our enemy?
Oh, that's what my question, my whole paper is answering, honey. It says, but if they are people of wisdom, this is Nichiren Daishonin who wrote this, but if they are people of wisdom, how then can the devil king of the sixth heaven take possession of them? The reason is that they are not defeated from without, but from within. They are defeated by the devilish nature known as fundamental darkness innate in life. This is our enemy, Mara, the devil king of the sixth heaven. Are they literal people? Probably, yeah. I'm pretty damn sure there are literal people acting on behalf of Mara, the devil king of the sixth heaven. Let me explain to you who Mara is.
Alright, I'm gonna let her explain to you because I already know. I've been all over this stuff, man. It's like,
Okay, I'm gonna start at the beginning that I said I wasn't gonna read, but now
Hey,
it's the
Jay?
answer to this question.
are you sure you want to do that? Let me just throw that out there because I'm not trying to force your hand in this. I'm really not. If you don't want to do it, save it for later.
We don't have to use any of this clip